The orcs.
So, the orcs, vile servants of Morgoth and Sauron, they are terrible creatures of darkness and delight in the pain of others. Can we stop trying to say that they are in any way, shape, or form sympathetic? So, I know that Catholicism teaches that being irredeemable isn't really a thing. They are not redeemable. They're not a redeemable force. I can go through a myriad of different examples from the first age through the third of the orcs just being brutal monsters. And it's just like, sorry, at a certain point, you're irredeemable. Your actions, repeated actions, and no want for forgiveness, no desire for forgiveness, and actually enjoying the things that you are doing, it makes you irredeemable.
If you want to keep it simple, I
Yeah.
think of them very much like demons. But Tolkien himself struggled with it, even though he was not doing allegory. He didn't want to do anything contrary to the faith. But because it is not a one-to-one allegory and it's not revealed by God, it's okay if it didn't quite mesh. So when people try to say that what they're trying to do with the orcs in that piece of garbage is, well, that's kind of like what Tolkien was doing. It's like, no, 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 no.
No.
It was just Tolkien having some issues. But if you were going to try to bring that in any way into the story, you would have to bring someone to the level of St. Thomas Aquinas to be
Yeah.
able to create it and make it possible, sensible, and anything like that. And instead, we get what we get.
The one thing that is hotly contested is their origin. Whether or not they came from elves or if they weren't their own creation, that would be against the rules of the world because Morgoth did not have the power to create anything sentient. I've read somewhere that people were having misgivings about that because he had sentient dragons and Balrogs and things. It's like, well, they're corrupted spirits that were probably just bodied. That's pretty much what they were. The other thing of them cooking in the sun like vampires, it's like, guys, that's not how this works. And oh my goodness, this goes back to the idea of follow the rules of the world. Okay. If you create an adaptation, you have to make changes. That's another reason why Jackson gets a pass. He followed the rules of the world. So the orcs are afraid of sunlight. They don't like it, but it doesn't cook them. Going into a bit of filmmaking here, they're very inconsistent with the sunlight in that show when it comes to whether or not it hurts the orcs or not. Because there's orcs with full on skin exposed to the sun and nothing's happening. And then you have the other scene where like the orc, his arm gets exposed by his elf orc daddy. God, that was such a stupid concept. And he's just getting burned. It's like, what is this? This is so
Yeah.
stupid.
But I think that that's also the fallacy of the show. It's like when people drop into the Bible and they find like one verse and then they base everything on that and ignore
Right.
everything else. They're like, well, we wanted to do this, but look, it's what Tolkien wanted. It's like, no, don't be playing that game.
No,
The
not at
same
all.
way they did with Galadriel, they said, well, he said she was of Amazon disposition. So
Oh, I hate
therefore,
that so much. Oh,
yeah.
that sends me up a wall. Oh, she was really tall and athletic and headstrong, so that must mean she must was just insufferable. Like
Yeah,
what?
sociopath. Yeah.
She was a complete sociopath. No, stop it. Like,
Yeah.
well, it's like with they kind of do the same thing with Sauron too. Oh,
Mhm.
we need to make Sauron, very morally gray. We need to make him sympathetic. Or trying to make the orcs sympathetic is bad enough. The relationship between Sauron and Shelob. What Sauron would do is he would take his captives, the especially helpless ones, and he would send them to Shelob's lair with a couple of his messengers. Sauron enjoyed hearing about this, enjoyed in quotations, you guys do with that what you will. He enjoyed listening to how she would play with her food.
Yeah, that's
That's the kind of evil that we're talking about. You don't make that sympathetic.